Hey guys, we've had a little bit of a break. I've had plantar fasciitis, which is lovely. So I'm on a high stool. It may look like I'm standing, but I'm not because I'm not putting pressure on my arch. Anyway, we're going to do something different today. Talk to me, Ben. What's going on?
So today we are you familiar with the alternative audio tracks for movies?
Hmm.
And so Lindsay and I have done one for a show that we did together, the only show that we've done together in person in
Mm.
Auckland. So you can watch that as part of the YouTube channel here to first watch the show 25 minutes or 35 minutes a show, and then we do a five-part series, like pausing the video and saying, here's what was going on in our minds throughout.
Yeah.
So we thought it would be fun to do an experiment today where we just do a little bit of the improv and then explain what's going on in our minds as we're doing it. Now, this could actually be a very useful tool for students to understand what goes on in the mind of an experienced improviser and maybe gets rid of some of the mystery and the nervousness that comes through it, because I think Lindsay and I largely don't have a lot of nerves when we play together anymore, unless circumstances have changed, like a big audience or Elvis Presley is back, like, oh, is he going to kill us,
Something like that.
bring
Yeah.
us back with him to the dead. He's not
Yeah.
really dead, though. That was a joke. He's not really dead.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what we wanted to give a try to today. And
Yeah.
if it's super helpful, you're welcome ahead of time. And if it's not helpful at all, we apologize.
Yeah. So this is not a fever dream. This is us in the scene and out of the scene, and in the scene and out of the scene. It's kind of like meditation. You know how when people want to meditate, it's not about being in the zone the whole time. It's about realizing you're not in the zone and coming
This
back to
is
that place.
exactly like meditation in that we're
It's
going to be in the
exactly
zone for like 20% of it, and the other 80% of it, we're going to be
out.
talking and out of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Intrusive thoughts.
And
That's what this.
we are here to intrude. Let's do it.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, cool. Do you want a session or you want to just go straight in?
What's a session?
A suggestion or do
Oh,
you want to go
suggestion.
straight in?
Oh, I've got
Oh,
a
okay.
I've got a pamphlet from Jesus that was
Oh,
delivered to me.
he's here again.
And what?
He's here again. Jesus, he's come back again, is he?
Uh, I haven't read the pamphlet. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm
Uh,
sorry. But this one says, listen live. That's one of the phrases in there. Listen live.
listen live.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, so I just got the suggestion, and my immediate thinking is, oh, we have to incorporate this in some brilliant way. And then I let that go and say, I'm just going to do the most basic, dumb thing because the suggestion is extremely unimportant to improv. And the way I do improv is just I say and do one thing and react. Lindsay reacts and builds on that. I react and build on what Lindsay does. And then we just discover a world. So I try to get rid of that nervousness that like the scene has to be about live life. What does it even say? Listen live.
Listen live. So my first reaction was listen live, everybody. We're on a radio station. That's the first thing that I thought of, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll see what Ben does. If it's in any way close to a radio station, I'm going to put it in that direction. If it's not, well, I'll let go of that idea. So that's what happened with me.
And when you said like see what Ben does, were you expecting me to do something first, or were you expecting us to do
I
something at the
was.
same time?
No, I was
Ah,
expecting you to because I think you usually initiate. And I don't mean that
ah,
I don't mean that dialogue. I mean I'm watching the way that you're looking, your posture, like your face, and that is an initiation to me. So
great.
sometimes like I'll be the first to speak, but it's because of you. So I've watched something you've done and then I've gone, ha, he looks sad or happy or scared or whatever it is, and then I'll make my first line to do with that. Yeah.
That's really great. That's great. I think that this is a good point now just to talk about initiations. I don't believe in initiations. I think that like as soon as someone gives a suggestion and if you have the format of putting the lights down and then the lights go up, you're alive and so you're doing stuff. So you're both
Yep.
initiating at the same time. That's why I always like initiate first if I'm with someone who doesn't who thinks that someone should initiate and someone else
Yeah,
should be
yeah,
the second to react.
yeah.
So like I will be perceived as always initiating first, but I will always initiate because I spent 10 years just waiting and watching other improvisers do what they do and see how I can fill in. But I studied with Mick Napier a little bit at Annoyance Theater, who's more has the philosophy of like take care of yourself. That's the best way to take care of your other partner.
Mm.
So that's why I always initiate first at the same time, hopefully, as my other partner.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. Okay, cool.
Awesome. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm really nervous.
You look nervous. But you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be. I mean, if anybody can pull this off, I reckon we can pull this off. That's what I
Okay,
think.
thank you.
Yeah?
Okay, so here we go. So in that, I went with an emotion, which is something I often go first with, probably because I teach my students to do that. Because if you go with an emotion, it's never wrong. It's always heightened, right? It's always
Mm-hmm. Yep.
alive. It's always
Yep.
something to work with. It's always true. And
Yep.
you know, if it's to some extent, I'm always a little nervous, or I'm always a little something. And if you are nervous, every improviser is a little bit nervous anyway. So it's okay to say, like, I'm nervous, and you'll find context for it
100%.
eventually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you spoke, you said something along the lines of I should be, which is both like confirming of the situation and also kind of says something about you, like you're kind of like an overly honest person, maybe, you know?
Mm.
Uh, and then, so I said, okay, that means that there's something that we're about to do or that I'm about
That's
to
right.
do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when you say, no, but we're going to do this together, we
Yes.
have this. And then I'm like, all right, this is like a radio thing, like we're about to get
I've
on
got
the
it in my
air.
pocket. It's still there. I'm
Yeah,
like, could
exactly.
this be radio? Could it be? That was my first instinct. So it's there, but I'm ready to let it go if it's not, right? So I'm just
Right.
waiting to see, like, is it going to happen or not? When you said you were nervous, you looked nervous. So all I said was I confirmed that. I said, yeah, you look nervous. So I just basically commented on literally what you look like.
Right.
Yeah.
And
So
let me say here, apparently I didn't fully hear that, which is like both a knock on me and like a compliment to me. Like
mm,
I should hear the exact words that are being said, but at the beginning there's like an extra adrenaline, and I'm really looking more for the vibe and the feel of what was
yeah.
said than the actual literal words.
Yeah,
It'd
yeah,
be good to do
and
both. Yeah.
yeah, and though I don't think you can get away from that. Everybody hears things differently. That's just your brain or whatever, depending on,
Yeah,
the filters.
but when
So
you said
yeah.
you look nervous, I remembered that to be true. Like, oh, that is what you
Mm,
said.
mm,
So
mm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it is
yeah.
good to have both. It's much more important to understand the vibe of what they said than the literal words. But it is
Yeah.
nice to know the literal words. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then I just looked at him, he looked nervous. I confirmed that. So it's like I'm saying to the actor, yeah, I've got your intention. Like I know what you're doing here. You're nervous. We're going with that. And then I'm just waiting to see what his reaction is. And then after that, I had a decision to make. And was I going to make it about him being nervous, or was it going to be something we were doing together? And I chose the we, and I don't always do that. Sometimes, look, the jury is out about this. Some people say don't do we because you're taking the stakes away from the other person because it should be about them if they've initiated that. But then sometimes we want to do we because we just want kind of more of a peas in the pod type situation. So yeah, and believe me, there was no logic to that choice. It was just I was aware there was two choices, and I just went with the we rather than yeah, you like this is big deal for you. Like I could have done that as well, but I didn't. I said, oh yeah, but I think we've got this kind of thing.
And that choice is a choice away from conflict, which I think
Yes.
is a better, an easier, more fun, and more fulfilling choice 80% of the time to do at the beginning. Because if you do that at the beginning, if you avoid conflict at the beginning, it's helpful because conflict is not fun or fulfilling or comprehensible to anybody unless you have context to that conflict. So if you
Yeah.
start off in
Good
conflict,
point.
you're like, all we know is that we have negativity. So I'm already pulling up
Mm-hmm.
all these real hormones in my actor body that
Interesting.
get
Yeah, yeah.
into defensive mode. And all that I
Yeah.
know is that I'm hated. And my brain is telling me that you secretly really hate me as a person. Uh, and therefore, and then
Yeah.
all I can do then is fight or flight you. And so
Yes.
it's horrible. But if we go in saying like together, audiences are just dying to see people like working together, and that'll give us more of an easeful place to start to understand who we are, where we are, and all those things that come.
Yes, and just be aware, guys, that there are teachers that don't like that. So there are some teachers that don't want you to level it with a we, because it does stop the stakes from being as high for one of the actors, and it
Yeah,
could be seen as kind of blocking their offer, in the sense that they've kind of made it clear that it's them that's got the thing, or they're the protagonist, and now we've got a dual protagonist, like
right. There
it's
are
we.
plenty of bad teachers out there.
Well, just as well, I didn't mention any names. All right, but just be aware, guys. Okay, for me, there is a logic behind both of those decisions, but I'm agreeing with Ben in this sense that, like, at the beginning of a scene, and especially if you're not haven't done much improv, you're still on your wits and you're still unable to come out of fight or flight. Like Ben said, we'll then go with the more peas in a pod. We're doing this together, kind of building that thing together, because yeah, it's very hard, like, to get out of conflict.
Yeah, I know.
So
Now
yeah,
to dive in even more to that, and we'll let it go after this, just to give
yeah,
people context as to why certain teachers might say keep it individual and other ones might say we.
mm,
I guess there's the philosophy of maybe Chicago versus Johnstonian style,
mm-hmm,
and the idea that one person is a protagonist or not is more of a Johnstonian thing, thinking about stories, the hero's journey, the character
yes,
arcs, the everything from protagonist to the contagonist to the
yes,
antagonist and all this stuff. And I have and I appreciate that, and I feel like that is it should be, in my opinion, an advanced skill. And by advanced, I mean after you've done improv for like 10 to 20 years, because there's so much joy and discovery that can happen just from I say and do one thing, you say and do one thing, and we discover it together. And we end up
mm,
maybe not only, maybe we find out who the protagonist is. Maybe there is no protagonist. Maybe it's a dual protagonist thing. Maybe we invent a new genre of theater as we're doing this, right? So I think it's if you're trying to create a story and
mm,
you have that in mind and you advertise your show as the story and you really want to do that, it's an advanced skill that has a very specific goal that may or may not be fulfilling to you. It will
mm.
almost certainly be fulfilling to the audience because they're used to seeing
Yes,
stories
yeah,
that,
yeah, they love that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. But if you are truly new or sick of doing stories and just want to explore
Mm,
what could possibly come of two or
I
more
agree.
minds clashing together and
Yeah.
discovering,
Mm.
then don't worry about like who the protagonist is, maybe worry about who the protagonist is half an hour after the show when you talk about it, not during.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Okay, so now the actor Lindsay's going, where the fuck were we? I think we were at, it was last something like, we've got this, right?
Yeah, we've got this.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think we've got this. I think we've got this. We got this. We got this, right?
Okay. So in this moment here, because you had actually said we got this, and so
Yeah,
then you changed it, and so I'm allowing myself to be comforted by the first one that we've got this,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
allowing myself, instead of just being like, all right, when she says I think we've got this, letting that be a continuation. I think that would be making things harder on myself and less fun and less fulfilling,
Mm-hmm.
because then I'm just throwing away that information and the more you throw away information, the more you throw away changes, and we've got this versus I think we've got this
Yeah,
can be perceived as a massive change. If you do, the more
yes.
changes you throw away, the more you're going to maybe be in invention mode later. And we don't want to be in inventive mode
Mm,
while we
interesting.
are in a discovery art form, right?
Yes.
So I'm just allowing myself to be affected by that. And then my brain is telling me oh God, now I need to say something. But then I'm like, no, you
Yeah,
look
don't.
smarter and more genius if
Yeah.
you just like allow yourself to react to this and show how calm you are and that you don't need answers, you don't need definitions right away. You can just be. And even though that is 100% fake from my perspective, like I am super still nervous and super
Yeah, yeah.
confused, I
Yeah,
just look
yeah.
like a genius if I just, take a breath and like, yeah, I'm in this moment.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And it's good because Ben and I have worked a lot together. So he kind of we do have a kind of a rapport, and we kind of sort of know. I mean, I think there's still mysteries about Ben, and there's probably still mysteries about me. But as a general thing, we kind of know about each other's play. And when I said we got this, and then he heard me say, "I think we got this," he knows that I do like emotional change, and really, honestly, the reason that I said that was because when I said the words, we got this, I, as the actor, didn't believe it. So I went, I think we got this. And that was like kind of the actor and the character at the same time saying that. So I, as the actor, was feeling like my character's saying we got this, but it's not what they really think. So now I need to make that clear to Ben. So I'm going to go, I think we got this, right? So he knows where I am emotional, like where my character is emotionally in where I am at the moment. And then I'm interested in wordplay as well. So I love the difference in wording when you put the accent on a different word, or you put like an emotion on a certain word but not another word, and that can say more than like reams of like dialogue. You can sort of say the same thing in different ways. And then I appreciated the fact that Ben just stopped and was taking that in. Ah, okay. She got no, no. Has she got? Have we got this?
Right. And so I'm
Just for
doing that
yeah, that
and I've also
space.
got like a ticking clock in my head thinking like gotta get the who, what, where, when, why out soon. Now I don't need to do those, but I feel like it is helpful information to us to have a little bit more all the time, and to the audience to understand why they're watching this. I don't like the idea of saying like, why is this the most important day of your life? Or, why should we care about these characters? Like, I think that's just way too much burden to put on yourself. But I mean, just understanding like literally who you are, are you a hippopotamus? Or are you, the Pope from the 12th century? Like the
Yeah.
context helps.
And this
Um,
is this is where Ben and I are different in our approach. So, and this is why we work so well together, because what I lack in specificity, he makes up for in fucking droves, right? So at this particular point of the juncture, he's going who, what, where, that's important, let's get it out. And it is important. But I'm not there. I'm not there yet. Like I'm just kind of like, let me feel this out. What's the relationship? Who are we to each other? So I'm still in that space. And so usually this is what will happen soon. Ben's going to be very specific about something. I can feel it coming. So in a sense, I kind of get a really cool free ride because I don't have to be. Like I just let him like I
I tell
just
you what,
let him get
that
really
is a free
specific.
ride because it is
Yeah.
work because
Yeah.
specifics do not come to me naturally.
I'm
I
surprised by that. I'm
The only
surprised by
reason I'm
that.
good at specifics is because Susan Messing once told me that, like, oh, that guy's really good at specifics. And I think it was just something I was specific about in one class or
One
performance
time.
she saw me in. And so ever since then, I've been very nervous not to spit out specifics like all the time. Now, of course, you have to balance that with not just being like the specifics show, because
Yeah.
all the cool things you can do in improv, I find, are just at service to doing the very basic things that we need to do, which is the relationship. And when I was saying specifics, am I the Pope or the hippopotamus? Another specific is the relationship. So I'm also in that as well. Feeling, I like to do the heat and the weight, the vibe to discover what the relationship
Yes.
is.
Me too.
Right. Yeah,
Me
which
too.
is a,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
TJ and
Yeah.
Dave thing, read their book. But I don't, uh, I, I'm also okay to being like, Grandpa, why are you
Yeah.
dressed as a pirate? Like that's
Yeah.
okay too.
And again, so you're specific. Although you could have said 1875 pirate, but anyway. Yeah, look, interesting, guys. It depends what form you're doing as well. If you're in a mono scene like this, it's fine to take your time a little bit more. Like, if you're in a Harold or something, you might have to come in and go, Grandpa, why are you wearing, like, if you're in a premise-based form that's like that, then it is about specificity and being quick. But if you have the luxury of a mono scene like this, why not use the luxury of the time, building the relationship, and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up that context because I just want to say that almost all improvising advice, which is what this is, by the way, we're not licensed improviser advisors. We are not legally
No,
licensed in the state of
no.
California or
Yeah.
Illinois or
Yeah. If anything goes
Peoria.
wrong, we're not liable.
Right,
Basically. I mean, let's
right.
just, yeah.
Yeah, let's just say. That being said, here's our advice.
Yeah.
So, no, most improv advice is about almost exclusively. No, okay, let me go back. Almost all improv advice is based on the idea of an open scene
Right.
of just like two people, let's just get started and do some improv.
Mm. Mm.
20% of improv shows are that. So again, 100% of the advice only applies
Yes.
20% of the
To
time.
20, I would agree. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
exactly what you said, like some things are premisey and you need to learn the premisey skills for that, etc. That said, I prefer to do open scenes as my show.
Mm.
Like anything
Yeah.
goes, here we
Yeah.
go. Now, but then you and I just did a show where it's like it is a musical. We have to establish these characters in the first 3 minutes. We have to do
Mm-hmm.
this and we have to do that. And that was
Mm-hmm.
largely, I think, a marketing thing because the festival we were at just wanted
Yeah.
well, I mean, my perception they chose that and they didn't choose other shows that were
Yes.
more like open whatever happens. So it's like, all
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
let's give them
Yeah.
what they want. And that's
Yeah.
harder.
Yeah,
But
and
it's yeah.
it is hard, but like if you've got a theater, you can understand like why you want to please the audience, you know what I mean? And that kind of shit pleases the audience. But people love a story, especially like if there's music and stuff. But Ben and I worked really hard on that show and rehearsing up like how to figure out who's the protagonist, how to support that person, like all of that stuff. So that in itself is another science, you know what I mean? But I think that's really interesting what you said about the fact that most people will train people to do that 20% when most shows are different to that. When I first started doing the Harold, I thought I was the shittest improviser that ever lived because I came from that 20%. Like let's take our time. And then I'd be in a Harold and I'd be fucking got like they'd be way ahead of me. I'd be still trying to figure out what the relationship is. And they've just done a premise and it's a simple sort of premise thing. And it's kind of like, oh, okay, I got to learn that flexibility and that style as well. And that's what I'm interested in as an improviser as well. It's not my go-to, it's not what I love doing. But I think that if you want to do a lot of improv with a lot of different people and do a lot of different forms, you've got to realize what the structure is for each thing. Like what's expected of me in this like space, and hence why I love this space because there's not really any expectations, which I
Mm,
love, right?
hmm.
But that's not the case if you're going to go do a Harold, or you're going to do, a deconstruct, or you're going to do like a Pretty Flower or something like that. There's a lot of premise going on in those
Yeah.
forms.
And I just like to say, I'll get on my soapbox for a second here, and I'm not usually a big soapbox guy, but I'm pretty sure that the way that most improv taught around the world is broken in that not teaching an open format is great and all that. And so I think the way that it's taught is great, but then to have shows immediately have formats, immediately have premises, immediately have all of this, I think is such an advanced skill
Yes,
that it
definitely.
confuses students. And I just
100%.
think, and so I just
Yeah.
really do think that shows, honestly, for the first 5 to 10 years, should have no as few guardrails on them as possible. And then yeah, and then I think it turns
Interesting.
people off of improv as well because you'll get these people that are not that experienced. Next thing you know, they're doing a Harry Potter theme as like the first couple shows,
That's hard
and
work.
it's just not good improv because they haven't learned how to do good improv and they're just
Yes.
learning all
Yeah.
these tricks. So it's uninteresting, it's unconnected, like emotionally, which sounds like haughty-taughty, but I mean it's actually what people care about,
Mm,
even if they don't know that that's what they care about.
mm.
So you're not following characters. There's the endings don't make sense. The beginnings don't make sense. The middle doesn't make, and there's too much pressure. And so you can see their heart like beating out of their chest when
Yes.
they're performing,
100%.
which is the wrong
100%.
approach to performing. So
100%. Yeah.
so please out there, if there are teachers out there or if there are students out there that will someday be teachers, hopefully, which are all of you, please only make people do non-premised shows for the first 10 years of their improv.
Okay, so I'm not going to be as extreme as that. What I'm going to say is, at the very least, as a teacher, I feel like it's your responsibility to not set people up for failure. So if what is expected of them is something specific, then they should know that. So in a Harold, it is something pretty specific that you want people to do in a Harold. Like you want them to play premise-based improv. And you set people up to fail if you haven't trained them how to pull premise, how to find that premise, where to get it from. If you haven't done that, you're just expecting someone that's been doing mono scenes and looking for relationships and emotions and connections to be looking for very specific information like a premise. It is the opposite in how your brain works. So in this cool, awesome, we're in a mono scene, we're just taking our time, we're just in a very abstract poetic space. But when you're doing something like a Harold, if you do a Harold, you're going to be tired, man, because even when you're not on stage, you're cognitive the whole time. You're thinking, you're putting things together. It's very, very logical and
It's math.
cognitive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
it's
a
math.
Herald is just math.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And that's fine,
Yeah.
And I mean, like stand-up comedy is math, the Herald is
100%.
like math,
It's like that. Yeah,
It
100%.
is.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
okay. But if you try to do that math without being a very good connected improviser at first, you'll still get good in some regards, but
Mm.
you won't know what makes things tick. You won't know what makes things interested. You won't have people on their what's it the edge of their
The edge of the
seats
seat. Yeah,
finding
yeah.
out, what
Yeah.
happens to these characters and stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
you're just gonna be able to like make a joke about this.
You'll
What
be
if
funny.
that?
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's like a very intellectual, high-end children's game.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Look, and also I just wanted to say about that, yeah, ultimately what you want obviously is a Harold that has all the maths but all the pathos of a good show, right? But that is extremely like experienced, and you'd have to be extremely experienced to be able to do that, because the thing is that while you're doing the maths, that's taking up a hell of a lot of headroom, and in those connections you need heart room. So to be able to do those two things at once, it is a very hard thing to do.
And you need the heart room as a practice as it's in you, so that you're not thinking about it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when you do
exactly.
the show,
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
not
yeah,
thinking about
100%.
it. And then
Yeah,
it's great. Then it could just be amazing. Yeah.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree 100%.
So I
Wait,
think
wait, wait.
we're 3 lines into
We
into
got
the
this.
show now.
Okay, we got this.
Okay.
I think we got this. We got this.
We got this. We got this. We got this. Hey, 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 we got this.
Okay. All right, I just want to say what's just happened for me now is completely changed. So that thing I had in my pocket, the radio thing, it's gone. It's totally gone.
Uh-oh, it's in my pocket. Uh-oh.
Okay, so now I'm at a pivotal moment. I need to make clear what my intention is right now before it's too late, right? Because I know that Ben's getting something, because he's getting very sort of grounded into his character. So I'm watching him, I'm seeing he's grounded. He's starting to feel, okay, I kind of know what this is. And so am I. Now, the chances are very good that we're not on the same page. Okay, just like we just found out. And this is not just me and Ben, this is anybody, okay? Because we've got to remember, we're not, okay, we try to
We're four
mind meld
lines
it
in. We're
improv.
4 lines into a make 'em up.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
100%. There's a million possibilities in this moment, right? And I've pocketed one, and now I'm about to let it go because I've been watching his commitment to the character and the emotion, And this is very sort of high stakes. That's what it feels like to me. Now, a radio show is not high stakes to me, but what is high stakes to me is something that we're doing for our mum or our dad or a relative. Perhaps it's a speech or something. It's something like that has like a real emotional importance to it. And that's only because Ben took the time to be emotional about it. If it was just a like a radio show or something, like I don't feel like he's going to take that time. This is something to me that's more, there's more stakes to it. It's more involved. It's more important.
Okay.
And so,
All
so, so,
right.
so what was your, because you were going to bring back the radio
So
thing. Was
what
it,
what I
or was
had
it?
what I had was just enjoying the change, and allowing myself to not throw out the
Yeah.
who, what, where yet. I know that it's coming at
Yeah,
some
it's
point.
coming.
And so
We can both feel
but
it. It's
right.
coming.
So we've already had like a full circle thing, and that is a fun thing, especially, to have over the course of an hour show, but we are maybe 15 seconds into our show, and we've
Yeah.
already come full circle where I was the nervous one. Well,
Mm,
not full circle, we've come half circle,
yeah.
180, right?
180. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that, I'm the nervous one, and then you're comforting me, and then you get nervous, and then I'm comforting you. There's a
Yes.
mirror of that. It's just kind of fun, and it lets us know a little bit about our relationship. It doesn't let us know a ton. Don't pretend that it does. It lets us know that, and it's really cool. And so then I'm thinking we're about to go and promote something on a big radio show. And it could be a business, it could be an album, it could be that. So it could be an album because you and I do musical improv together sometimes. It could be, depending on the length of our show or what we're trying to accomplish, it could be something that like super doesn't matter. If it super doesn't matter, then it's comedy.
It's
If it,
comedy. Yeah.
right, if it really matters, then it's anywhere between like the beginning of a comedy to like straight drama, like we're going to go ahead and talk about like our dead dad, like
Yeah.
that might lend itself to drama. Uh, it's already kind of lending itself to comedy, me just saying dead dad. I don't know. I think that's
Yeah.
funny. Sorry, dad. But anyway,
Yeah.
That is the end of part 1. To keep going, make sure you go to part 2.